Hello everyone, welcome to SAP Technomaniac. In this video, we will discuss about ABAP list viewer with integrated data access. Means in short, we can say ALV IDA. How it is different from the classical ALVs and why SAP came up with the ALV IDA, how we can achieve the code push down using the ALV IDA and how it is different from our classical ALV and why we should use ALV IDA when we are working on SAP HANA database. These all things we will see in this video. Let's get started. Why we need ALV IDA, ABAP list viewer with integrated data access. We have already classical ALVs. Why SAP created this new ALV again? Previously, we used to use function modules. Then they come up with the GUI grid, CL GUI grid kind of and list kind of where we can work with the dime throws. Then they come up with the SALV where we no need to create the structure. Now they came up with the ALV IDAs. So why they came up with the ALV IDA first? So when we works with the classical ALV, what is the problem is that if suppose we have the huge amount of data, ALV not only we create in the program, when we display using the SE16 and there also we can see the one ALV output will come. Sometime when we fetch the huge amount of data from the database without putting any filter conditions, that time it will take too much time. We can see that cursor where the circle is rolling on, and after some time data is displayed. This is not a very good user experience. And not only that, if we fetch too much data that can't be handled by application server because we have the less memory or there, it leads to dump. This will create too many issues sometimes when we work with larger amount of data. Suppose we are displaying and all the invoices, all open invoices which is available in the systems, or we are displaying working with the large amount of sales order data that time. Not only that, when we create the ALVs, where once the data is displayed and we have the huge amount of data, there we are performing some operations like aggregating the columns or something like that. We are sorting the entries or we are grouping the data. This kind of operation when we are doing, that time again this circle will come. We don't like the circle and we have to wait for some time, then the data will come. This is not the very good user experience. To improve this experience of the user, we will use our HANA database. As you already know, we are talking about from my first video itself. It might be 55th video. So we are talking like that. Our database is powerful. They did a lot of, because of the availability of the hardware. Now our database is in-memory database, and due to the software innovation, it works very faster. So we have to leverage that capability of our database, and we have to overcome this user experience issue. That is the reason they have created ALV IDA. Now we will talk about what is exactly ALV IDA and how it is overcoming all the issues. You can see in this diagram, we have database server, we have application server, and at end we have user interface where user can see SAP GUI screen and ALV as well. So previously what we used to do, suppose we need the 1000 number of sales order. So what we will do, we will need the data from VBAK, VBAP and material related data from the MAKT and some other data. We will combine all the table. We will get all the data from the database. Then we will combine here in the internal table, and then we will be displayed. Then we were displaying in the output. So that we used to do previously. So in that case, suppose I need 1000 entries. So all 1000 entries should be available at the application server, and out of 1000 entry, only 100 entries will be displayed to the user, because screen is, we can display at a time 100 or 150 entries on the screen as per screen size. But as I told you, if you work with the large amount of data, all amount putting on the application server, and from the application server, some of the data will be displayed. That time we will get a lot of problems like that. I already explained, we will not, if we have large amount of data, it will take time to fetch the data. process the data. But ALV IDA picture will be different. You can see in the right hand side, what we will do, we will get only those data which data will be displayed on the user's screen. Not we will get all the data from the database and put on the application server, and out of that we will get the required data to display at the application. That we will not do. Instead of doing that, whichever the data displayed on the user screen, that data only fetched and displayed on the user's screen. When user take action, next suppose he do the page down, next data will be fetched from the database and it will be displayed. So there are the basic principle behind, the three basic principle behind using ALV IDA. First thing, only retrieve those data from the database which is actually displayed to the user. Not like that we have to get all the data, put an application server, out of that we are getting the data. We will be getting only those data from the database which will be displayed on the user screen. Second thing, use database services. To achieve this, there is a lot of services are there. We can push down our select options to the database. We can push down our lot of condition which we want to put on the database. Not only that, we can push down our authority object as well to the database to filter out all the data and get only the final result which can be displayed on the user screen. To achieve this, not only this, that there is the third principle. No need to get the internal table, no need to prepare an internal table at the application server. Instead of preparing the internal table, we have to think that what will be the entire result. Based on that, we have to create our data model, or we can, if you want to display normal table, not an issue, directly we can use table name, or otherwise we have to create data model, or we have to use CDS views, and that CDS view can be displayed directly, or we can use normal view, classical view as well. If we have only 2-3 tables and we can easily inner joins, that can also be done with the classical view. But CDS view, we have a lot of advantages. We can do a lot of calculations also, and we can do too much things like CDS table functions also we can use and do the some of the calculation as well. That we have already explained throughout this course. So that like we can prepare the CDS view, and that CDS view finally will be displayed to the user. That is the third principle. We have to create one entity which needs to display. Apart from that, we can create external view also based on our database tables or database views. That is also possible. But since the CDS views came, external views got absolute, we can say. So these are the three basic principles. But when we do this kind of things, what is the advantage behind that? First advantage, retrieval of the result will be very faster, because in this case we are getting the data from database 1000 entries. In this case, only the 100 entries which we are displaying on the screen, those entries only we are getting and we are displaying. So data retrieval, obviously it will be faster, better performance will be there, and we will be having the reduced memory consumption. Means in the application server we need only the 100 entries data, no need to retrieve all thousands data and put in the application server. So if you want to work with a huge amount of data, whichever the data will be displayed, those only available in the application server. In that way, we will not get this kind of dump. We don't have enough memory to handle this amount of data at the application server. This we used to get previously, because now we are fetching only those data which we are displaying at the finally on the user's screen. So that kind of dump also not, better performance also there. Very important thing, improved user experience. He will not need to wait, that cursor will not come with the delay. So we will get data quickly because our database is powerful. He will send immediately the data. This picture will explain how much data we will get actually from the database and what is exactly need to be displayed to the user, where it is filtered out throughout the things. First things, when we get the data from the database, that will be from the different table, we will get the data from the database. First thing will be at the application server level, you can see authority check will be applied. The data will be reduced here. We got the data phase, suppose we have got the 1000 entries. Out of 1000 entries, user have only authority of the 500 entries, or somehow then only we will get those 500 entities filter out at the application server. Further, we have to add some data. Means business data means we can add calculated column. Suppose we have net price, we want to add the discount based on the net price column. We want to display some link apart from the in another column that should lead to somewhere else. That link also we can add. This kind of business data also we can add. We have to add at the application server. After adding those data, finally we can add some UI elements like checkboxes we want to display. We want to display some radio buttons. We want to display some UI element along with our data. That also will be done at the application server. And finally, this all after doing this, all the things will be passed to the ALV services. They will, as per the user requirement, they will sort or filter the data, and that finally the tiny part of data will be displayed here. How much at a time we want to display this one? How much we have to do? We have to do this thing at the application server. We have to apply authority object. We have to add the calculated column. We have to add the UI elements. These all things we have to do at the application server, and then all the processing we are doing at the application server, and finally we are displaying only this much data. And when we do the sorting, page down, paging and all, then further data will be coming from the application server itself instead of the database server. So this is how the classical ALV works. Now we will see how our ALV with IDA works. In ALV with IDA, instead of performing all the operations at the application server, all the operations performed at the database server itself. Like authority object apply, we will pass through appropriate parameter all the things to the database. So all the authority objects to the database, there it will be applied authority objects. We will pass select options to the database. There in the database level it will be applied. Whatever we were doing, calculating the columns, all the operation which we were doing in previous screen, like authority objects take, business data additional, these both the things we will do at the database server itself. Not only that, if user specific, we are applying the filtering, sorting or anything we are doing, that all the things we will do at the database level itself. Then we will get the data to the application server. But still we will add some of the things, UI related things. If you want to add some icon, if you want to add some apart from icon, if you want to add some link, those kind of things we still do at the application server. There are those UI related thing, and finally we will display the data. What is the advantage? You can see we filtered out all the data and we displayed only we send only those data which we actually need to display in the UI level or at the front end. So we are all the things. Suppose I do page down here, then again come to next page, data will be fetched from the database itself and it will be sent. If I do filtering, if I do the sorting, everything will be performed at the database, and next data will get directly from the database itself instead of getting from the application server. So how this picture will get when we work with the classical ALV to ALV with ID. User perspective. What I mean by end user perspective, when I use classical ALV, SALV ALV or GUI grid display, or when I use ALV with IDA, is a user perspective, there is no much differences there. We will be having less number of here buttons, and we will be having one corner button there we can change the layout. Here we have to write the code to put the layout, but we have different button to save layout, change layout. Instead of we will be having one single button itself that we can do the filtering, sorting or layout change, whatever we want to do we can do. Little bit changes are there, how it looks and display. And apart from that, there is no much difference as a user perspective. Whatever he can do in the SALV ALV or older ALV, classical ALV, he can do in ALV IDA as well. The next thing, how we can initialize the ALV IDA. We know how to initialize our classical IDA. We have to call CL SALV table, static method, factory method, and then we have to pass one internal table. We will be not having any internal table when we are using ALV with IDA. That's the first and most important thing. Either you have to use standard database table, or you have to use view And if you want to combine a lot of other tables, you want to do calculations and those kind of things you have to do, you have to use CDS view obviously to achieve that kind of things. Using CDS view, what you can't do, you can do a lot of things. Now we have CDS table functions as well. We can apply case statement, aggregations, unions, all the things we can apply, and we can write the code in the CDS view itself to get the data final result. That CDS view finally we can use to initialize our ALV IDA. So the method class will be CL solve GUI table IDA. If you want to use some table view or external view also we can use, that is absolute. And we used to create, when we have to create the, I didn't explain throughout this course because I want to pick up first the latest thing. Then if I have time, then I can explain the database proxies and external view as well. That is bottom up approach. What we were doing, we have whatever we are creating on the database that we will be using in our application server. I only explained till now top down approach only. So we can use this database tables and database view directly using the create view, or if you want to use the CDS view to initialize that kind of ALV IDA, you have to use another static method, create for CDS view. Both are similar things, like that we can initialize. We can see in the system also, not an issue, just to give some idea how we can initialize. The second thing, ALV can be called with the container and without the container. We have the GUI grid display where we create the container, and then inside we can use the method set table for display. That method we will use and we will display the ALV. Like that, here also we can create the container, and in the PI screen we can initialize our ALV like this. We have to give the container name when we are initializing our ALV IDA. That's the only difference. You will see in the system, not an issue. Without container also, we no need to create the container. SAP use entire screen to display our ID ALV display output. That is the syntax level. We can say how we can initialize the ALV IDA and how we can use ALV with the container and without container. To understand the ALV with IDA, I have created GALV IDA sample01 program. Inside this, we will try to instantiate our first ALV IDA. What I will do, as usual, we control space. We will call our template. Inside this template, you can see we have local demo class, and in this local demo class, we have a static main method that we are calling inside the startup selection event. Inside this main method, I will instantiate our first ALV IDA. You have to remember your class name, CL solve underscore GUI underscore control space. You can do IDA or table underscore IDA. Control space you can do. You will get the help. You have to do shift enter. You have to call the static method of this particular class. There is three static methods. One to check the database capabilities. No need to check. I have HANA database already, so I just want to give if you're working with the multiple database or you have HANA database along with the another database, you have to check this one. That's mandatory. If you are working on HANA database, then it is fine, and you have to check, because sometime in future if you switch from the HANA database to other database, that time it will be useful, but we will never do. But simply, if you create there is two methods. One is the create method, create for CDS view as well. That's another method. And first method is the create method. This will be useful when we have to create the ALV IDA for one normal table or SQL view, database view we can see. And third thing, if you have one external view which you have created, on those things if you want to display as a ALV format, then this is the useful. So let me give first simple with the create statement instead of creating for the ALV. So you can see we have to pass the here table name which you want to display, either database view name or external view name. As of now, I want to display normal table name. I want to display entire VBAK table, and you have to handle all the exceptions. How to handle? Not a big deal. You have to put try catch block. It is very useful in the ALV because frequently we will get the errors. If you not catch this particular block try catch, then you will get simply dump. That's a not good thing to get dump. So how to handle this simple case break? A case you can do into data. I will do inline declaration, LR connection, LR underscore. One of them I will capture, so you can know easily how to capture the exceptions. You already know if you are working with OOPS. So what you have to do, you have to call the control space get text method of this particular class. This is with all the, this get text method is a part of the root cx underscore root class. So you will get for all the exception this particular method. I want to display this particular message is type E. So usually I handle the exception like this for all the try all the classes, because for all the classes exception classes there will be get text method is available. Like that you can handle other try catch block also. I don't want to handle all, I just want to show you how to handle. So we have passed this VBAK table. I want to display this particular table view or external view in the ALV format. To display that, there is two way. One way you can control C except greater than you can do, and you can again do one inline declaration and get the instantiation of the this particular IDA ALV underscore IDA, and using this one you can call further. If you want to create container, you can pass the container over here, or here you want to display full screen. I just want to display on the full screen. You can do control space full, you will write the full screen method is there. There is another one exception which needs to be handled. Control space you can do. I want to just display the data now, and you can activate. It's the simplest one of the simplest form of the ALV. I didn't created any field catalog, I didn't go anything, I didn't do anything. I just displayed this particular table in the ALV format. Except F1 I will do, and let me do control F3, and let me do F8. Let me activate first, it didn't get activated. Let me activate control F3 and let me do F8. You can see the VBAK entire data will be displayed, will be get from the database. Not entire data, whatever it is displayed in this screen, those data will be get from the database and displayed finally here. We will not get all the data of VBAK to the application server. Then we will get what we will do. We only require data which needs to be displayed on this particular screen. Those data only we will get, and finally it will be displayed here. I think my system is slow. That is the reason it is taking time. Otherwise, it's HANA. It should not take that much time. Let's see. It took too much time. It should not happen ideally. So I got entire data of the VBAK. When I do page down here, again my one call will happen at the back end. Again I will get the newer data from directly database instead of getting from now application server, because if I do any sorting or any aggregation, everything will happen at the database level. It's the simplest form of the ALV. So this is how we call the simple view. We can, instead of view, we can use the database view, or you can use external view, anything you can use. But in the normal scenario, we never use simple table or simple database view, because we have to combine too many tables. Here, suppose we want to display sales order related data, I have to combine with the KNA one. I had to get the material description also. I have to combine VBAK, VBAP, lot of other tables I have to combine. Then I have to add some calculated field, this kind of things we have to do real times. So for doing, CDS view help us here. So using that CDS view, we can do a lot of things, whatever you want to do. Throughout the CDS video series, I have shown you how to use these functionalities, how to add calculated column, how to combine different table using join, using associations, and we can create our model, finalize the model. That direct final consumption CDS view we can use here. Yet to explain VDM, I will explain in upcoming videos. I have in my note down list, and this one, what we will do, we will just directly use this particular CDS view instead using table, but this time different static method we have to use. That's a very important things. I think exception is almost similar. Let me comment it out. Control shift less than, it is not required now. I want to create this time our IDA for one CDS view, CL underscore solve underscore GUI underscore table. Control space you will do, shift enter you will do, and you have to call static methods to create for CDS view. You have to create the IDA for CDS view, shift enter. There is no much difference. Instead of getting the table name, it will get us from one CDS view, it will get. So let me pass this CDS entity name you have to pass here, otherwise it will not work. Anyway, this is not DDIC based CDS view, it is no CDS entities. So that is the reason we don't have any view here, SQL view name. So we directly consume CDS entity, and the pretty much similar. You have to handle all the exceptions. You can get this one, or if you don't want to get like this, you have get, you directly you can call your full screen method here. Control space you can do, full screen you can do, shift enter you can do, and you can call, you can finally display here itself in one line code you can display everything. Shift enter, and you can display your final result like this. And this is also not required if you can pass single CDS entity. Let me do Control F3. One more thing we have to make sure, this time we have view with parameter. How to handle this view with parameter in the IDA, I will explain in next video. I don't want to explain now. Let me do Control Shift less than. Let me do Control Shift less than for this also. Let me delete this one. I just want to explain how to call simple CDS view with parameter. How to call I will explain next video. Let me do Control F3 this CDS view. We should not have any authority related restrictions to see the data. And to restrict the data, what I will do, I will put one where condition also here in this particular CDS view, so we can restrict the data. Where let me get only the ER name G with my ID only. No, why to get other IDs? How many sales orders? Z ABAP 3, AB AP 3. Let me activate Shift F1, Control F3. Let me simply execute this view how data is getting, and before going to the calling in this one, let me do F8. I got the data with G ABAP 3. Let me display in the ALV format. You can do a lot of things, lot of calculation over there. You can consume, you can combine a lot of things, but how to call finally here, that I want to show you in the ALV format. Let me close it out. Let me do F8 here. I didn't activate it. Let me activate this one. Control F3. Let me do F8. Cancel. Control F3. What happened? There is some error. Yeah, there is some error. I didn't comment it. Control Shift less than. Some other error is there. There should not be error. Control F3. Let me do F8. Now it will be displayed in ALV format. It's taking time. You can see it displayed in the ALV format. Ideally it should be work faster. I don't know why it is taking time here. So you can see the same data result we got, we can get to the result. If whatever the data, if you want to use data, that also you can get here using the ALV IDA. The most important thing here, we have explained basic thing, but you will tell now, if I have select option, how to pass here. I'm passing CDS. If I write the internal table, I can filter out easily. If I have authorization object, I want to apply in this particular, before calling this one, where to apply that authorization object. If I apply here, it will work on application server. You told me that it should work on database server. That also we will see. And not only that, if there is some other condition also I have to pass to database, how I will pass if I use like CDS view like this. This all things, how to pass select option, how to pass some different complex or simple conditions, and how to use view with input parameter, how to check the authorization at database, how to use text search across all the field of the ALV. These all things we will see in my next video. Before going to that video, please like this video, share this video with others as well, so they can also learn, and subscribe this channel. Not forget to that. Or with that, thank you. Happy learning.